Welcome back, everyone. We complete this video. We're going to complete the third part of our three-part session on death, burial, mourning, and of course the 12-month period. So there are 5 stages following the death of a loved one that we observe different types of mourning. The first section is actually between the time of death and burial, which we've referenced in a previous session, called aninut. That's the most intense, where we say social amenities and most of the positive mitzvot are canceled for the mourner. This would be a child of a parent who's passed, a sibling, spouse, because part of what's being done here is also preparing for the funeral. So now we begin. After the burial, we offer words of comfort to the mourners. Now we've changed our focus from focusing on the person who's passed and honoring them, and then going to comforting the mourner. The phrase that is used, is recommended by our tradition, is Hamakom Yinachem Etchem B'toch Sha'arei Tzion V'Yerushalayim. May the Lord comfort you and sustain you among the other mourners in Zion and Jerusalem. The idea here is that really there are no words. Anyone who's been through the grieving for a loved one, the words that people offer are sometimes pretty empty. So these words teach us that only comfort can come from within, from community surrounding, but there are really no words that really offer comfort. So the this next stage, the second stage, is the first 3 days of Shiva, and a lot of people stop the Shiva period after 3 days, but Shiva actually means 7, and there's a reason. There's a deep psychological reason and a healthy reason for us to observe 7 days of mourning. The Shiva house, first and foremost, is a place to comfort mourners. The intense first 3 days, sometimes the mourner is inconsolable, and so the custom is not to even say anything to the mourner until they greet us or welcome us, and then the words we should offer, again, the traditional words of comfort, but also we should share a story about the loved one. If we don't know a story, we should ask for a story. Find out. This is really helpful for the person who's grieving to understand that their loved one is not being forgotten, that they're remembered for all their positive actions in their life. And so we ask for stories. We share stories with the mourners. So Shiva 7 includes the day of burial, begins with that day. That counts as day 1. Day 7 is the part of the day, literally a week later. So, for instance, if a burial is on Monday, the last day of Shiva is Sunday. So some of the customs for during the Shiva period are we refrain from bathing, shaving, putting on makeup, doing our hair. You can brush through it just so it's not disheveled, but these, we cover our mirrors because we're not supposed to focus on the trivial, to be honest, and that's what that is. We wear either the clothing that was torn or the ribbon for those who don't tear their clothing, and that's worn through the Shiva period except for Shabbat. Friday afternoon, we take off the ribbon, we change our clothes. You're permitted to bathe in preparation for Shabbat, and then we observe Shabbat as we normally would. And then at sundown, actually an hour after sundown, we put the ribbon back on, we put the torn clothing back on, and continue the observance of Shiva. The mourner recites Kaddish. So for a child, the Kaddish is recited for 11 months minus a day. 11 months minus a day, Kaddish is recited. However, the person is still in mourning for a full year. But we don't recite the Kaddish after that 11 months minus a day. Any other relative, a sibling, a spouse, their mourning period is 30 days. Again, this is counted from the day of burial, not the date of death. After the first year, then we count from the date of death, not the date of burial. So the 12 months is counted from the date of burial. The 11 months minus a day is counted from the date of burial. Shiva from the date of burial. Shloshim, the 30-day period, from the date of burial. It is customary for men not to shave during the 30-day period, to refrain from entertainment, dancing, things of that nature, music, listening to music that is joyful music. These are things that are generally refrained from during the 30-day period. The year period for a child, again, the same restrictions, so to speak, stay in place, and that completes us. After that, we have what is called Yortzeit. After the first year, starting with the second year, the Yortzeit is from the date of death. And most funeral homes will give you a list of 20, 30-year calendar listing all the Yortzeit dates, because the Yortzeit date goes from the Jewish date, the Hebrew date of death, not the English date of death. So for instance, if someone, God forbid, passes away on the 15th of Shavat, which is a minor holiday, but that and that'll come in a future video. Then after the first year, starting with the second year, then it's observed on the 15th of Shavat, whatever English date that may happen to fall. Okay, and we can talk about the Jewish calendar in another session as well. All right, so that concludes in terms of the formal mourning practices. There is something else called Yizkor. 4 times during the year, there's a special memorial service for those who have passed. That they are done on different holy days. The first of the year is Yom Kippur. The second one is on the last day of Passover. The next one is the second day of Shavuot. And of course, I forgot the one in between, which would be the 8th day of Sukkot, Shmini Atzeret, the 8th day. So it's Yom Kippur, Shmini Atzeret, Passover, and Shavuot, Feast of Weeks. Those are the 4 Yizkor dates where we have a special service during the regular service for reciting these memorial prayers. So this is the completion of our 3 sections on death, burial, and mourning observances. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to leave them as a question or a comment on the video, and I invite your responses. Thank you so much for joining me in this journey.